Welcome back, Rebel fans. This is Superfed TV, and this is the second episode of the REL Division 4 and 5. This week we're going to be focusing on REL Division 4. The matchup today is going to be between Lizards and looks like High Elves, or no, Bretonnians rather, sorry. The LizardBeasts from REL Division 6 of last season, and Resistance is Feudal. I'm not sure which division they were in last year, but I know this is their second season. That is something that's unique to REL Division 4. They have a couple teams that were in their second season, as well as a large number of newly rolled teams from returning coaches. So everyone in this division has some experience under their belt, and they should be on somewhat equal playing ground. There will be TV differences to start for sure, but that doesn't mean that they can't be overcome, and the records of the coaches that came back through, they had some rough first seasons, so it's really anyone's division to take over. You know, you just have to have the mindset and the experience to utilize what TV differences there may be. So let's go ahead and start looking at this matchup here. The Bretonnians are going to be a little bit behind on strength, although they do have a plus strength Bretonnian Knight, and the agility though is going to be a bit in their favor, which is uncommon for Bretonnians. And the movement is of course going to go on the Lizardman side. They're just a little bit more agile, or not agile, a little bit more quick on their feet, I guess is the right way to put that. The player count is going to be in favor of the Bretonnians, which is not uncommon. They have cheap players. It's easy for them to foul, and I expect them to be doing that. Block and wrestle in favor of the Bretonnians as well, but with 4 block pieces, Lizards are kind of used to being behind on the block side of things. Dodging, of course, is going to go the way of the skink, and there is a guard advantage for the Lizardmen, which I think is going to probably be the biggest advantage that they have. The utility side is going to be in their favor as well, having that mighty blow, sidestep, and looks like a stand firm on one of their guys, so that'll be nice. However, the inducements are going to go the way of the Bretonnians with 1 bribe and 1 babe. Taking a look at the team shots before. Now, remember, these are after the game, so unfortunately I didn't get the screenshots beforehand, but in the weeks going forward, I will try and get those in advance. And you can see the star player here is countless opportunities. I love the puns and the wordplay from this coach. This is a great piece right here with plus strength as well as blodge and dauntless. So he can take on just about anybody on that lizard team. The lizards here have a couple block Saurus, which is nice. 1 mighty blow and 1 guard, and then the Crocs also has guard. And here's their star player, a 4 agility skink. Gotta love those agility ups on stunty players. This guy can go wherever he wants as long as he doesn't roll lots of 1s. So, without too much else, let's go ahead and jump into it. I will, in the future, talk about, their placements and where they're at before we really get into these matches. But since it's week 1, there's not much to talk about. So let us go ahead and jump into the game. The coin toss was won by the Bretonnians, and they elected to receive the ball. They're going to try and apply pressure to the Lizards, hopefully remove 1 with a foul or 2 would be my guess, which makes sense since they went with that bribe and they have that extra player. So that's why they would have elected to receive. I do like putting those block pieces on the line there to try and get, with Dauntless, a couple of those knockdowns, and that's where they're going to aim for those extra fouls. Get the skills up here. It looks like the ball carrier is going to be the jump up blitzer, which I think is a little bit strange, but he's got sure hands, so that makes sense why he would be the ball carrier. It's the jump up that gets me a little confused. And it's a high kick, so we're going to go ahead and see. Whoa, a short high kick. The blitzer's going to position under the ball. Let's see if he makes the catch. And he does. He had the reroll, so it was likely that he would. And he starts by moving him back just a little bit. Nothing wrong with that. I'd like to see him maybe cage that a little bit better, I guess. But block does block. Dauntless does its thing. Dauntless fails here. 1 die block. Double skull. This is why I wanted him to cage up first. So Lizards have an opportunity right here. If they can punch a hole, one of these swords in the back can get to the ball carrier. Let's see how he does it. Fend is going to make this a little bit tougher for the Lizard coach, but that knockdown right there pretty much just opens up a straight path. And he's got a block piece to go ahead and knock down this guy right here. This is looking really good for the Lizards. Fend, of course, still doing its thing. I don't like this blitz. I would have blitzed with this guy and gone for the ball. But you can still mark him, and a 4-strength source is probably not going anywhere right away. Dodge does its thing. There is no tackle on this Lizardman team, which is going to make it very tough against a lot of these Blodge Bretonnians, and so he's just going to mark here. No matter where he marks him, he's going to be able to get a Dauntless 2-die block. So, again, that's why I would have preferred the blitz there. But it is a Blodge piece. He doesn't have block on that source. I can understand not wanting to roll for a POW, but just being able to knock that ball loose on turn 1 would be really nice. And here come the source, or the Skinks rather, up to mark on the second side. I probably would have liked the diving tackle, but I understand keeping that back. And this is just a loner Skink, so he's going to keep that safe. As the Bretonnian coach, you're going to want to secure that ball right away. Ooh, I don't. Okay, I would have rather him just push that Skink off so he had more people to hit the source with, but it looks like he's just going to hit the source with his ball carrier, leave him where he is. Try and cage up a little. That block is not great there because he's still going to be next to the ball carrier, and a failed dodge. 2 turnovers right off the bat after a short kick. That is a rough way to start your match. But he was trying to cage up a little better. I can't fault him for that, but now the Lizardmen have great positioning. And they're going to get a couple blocks first to start. Here's that Mighty Blow piece. Let's see if he gets some damage. He does get the armor break with the Mighty Blow, and that was used there, so that came into play. That stun could be big. Another dodge doing its thing. Here comes the blitz. It won't be on the ball carrier, though. Armor breaks. And another stun. The Bretonnians are on their feet. This is not how they wanted to start with this bribe. I do see them having a hard time getting fouls with the disadvantage that they have so far. A reroll on the Crocs for the Bonehead. I think he just wants to get that guard involved. Problem was, it's a loner, and loners don't like to reroll. Failed dodge by the Skink for the diving tackle. I definitely agree with getting that diving tackle involved here, but you've got enough pressure there. It's really going to be up to the Bretonnian coach to kind of weasel his way out of this one. I assume there's going to be some dodging involved, but let's see what he comes up with. The pace of this game is very fast. It's a replay, so obviously there's no wait time between the moves, but you can tell just from the actions that are being taken here that they are blazing through things. So it's going to be a block and then blitz. He does get the knockdown, which is going to help allow him to freely move, and he wants to kind of back up here, get a little bit more distance. No, I mean, with that armor break there, that is a safe, relatively safe spot. However, the guard source in the back can still eventually get to him if he wants to. And he had a reroll. Interesting. Okay, well, there's a little bit of patience and restraint shown there from Resistance's Feudal. Makes the 1-die block on the Skink, however, it results in a skull. And that gives him a knockout on one of his blitzers. That is going to be rough. Circumference. Great name. So again, source turn to POW. I like retreating this source back here. Keeping at least one source as a safety is always wise. And we get another injury, or we get a injury, another removal, I should say. Is that Mighty Blow? Yeah, it didn't even need Mighty Blow, that one. So Garpek putting in the work. I like it. Here's the guard source that he wants involved. Blitz into an armor break, but Fend keeps him a little bit back there, so he's not going to be able to mark unless he makes a GFI. And he's fine not marking here. I mean, he's got a source on the ball, or a Skink on the ball. I'm going to say that was wrong all game. And now he's just kind of shutting down paths here, forcing him to go back and forth on his side of the field. And that's going to make it very hard for the Bretonnians to score this half, especially if they keep losing blitzers. Another blitz with the ball carrier. Fails to knock over the skink, but does push him back. And we might be seeing a little bit of potato here. It's not the worst potato against Saurus, but the problem is the skinks, right? And there's a foul, just cuz. It works out. But there's his bribe. You got to feel a little bit of the desperation from the Bretonnian coach. The first 3 turns have really not gone well at all, considering you received. That foul does at least protect the diving tackle from getting onto the ball carrier. But another skull on a block. These one-die blocks have not been kind to the Bretonnian coach. And he's forced to make them now because he's down numbers. No removal this time from Garpek. But Tyra does come in and mark the dirty player. The Agi 4 skink is now involved in the play, retreating away from the blitzer. And another mark on the ball carrier from the loner skink. This loner skink is actually doing a lot of things. Really involved in the play, hasn't been knocked over yet. Taking up blocks. That's a lot of use from a skink. Who knows how long that will last, but usually not long. Hand of the hand of the hand has been removed. Yet another injury. Being down this many players is going to be not insurmountable, but very, very tough to overcome against a Lizard team that is in great health. And there's the blitz on the ball carrier. He does get the POW, and the knockdown. The ball is loose and on the ground. Fortunately for the Bretonnians, there's no skink available to just pick that up and score, but what are you going to do? There are 2 different Lizardmen marking the ball, so it's going to be a very tough pickup. He does have jump up, and he does one-die the skink to push it back. But it doesn't do anything else here. And he blitzes the same skink. Successfully gets the POW. Little indecision shown there. Another one-die onto the Saurus. Just all these one-die blocks are now, at this point, out of, just desperation. He knows there's better choices. Ooh, nice. One-die with the Dauntless. And he does knock down the Croxagore. That, of course, is Countless Opportunities' goal, to remove that Crocs. Nice lizard block onto the ball. Moves the ball actually into, I would argue, a worse position between these 2 guys, but he does get to remove one of them here. No, he doesn't. With the block. Smart of him to go for the blitzer there instead of the blocker. And the reason why is the wrestle. He wants that lizard to be standing. Menstrual cramps also removed. Ooh, the injuries are just piling up. And the more he resists this, the more he gets his players involved, the more opportunity there is for the Lizard coach here to just keep removing pieces. I don't expect the Lizards to foul at all. That's not really their style. Here's the Agi 4 skink doing Agi 4 things. Picking up. A little bit of a glitch in the replay there. Looked like he was moving into the tackle zone, but he was not. This blitzer has kind of been forgotten about out of the play, and he does remember him now. I think maybe his plan was to try and sweep around and hand off and make a very long play to get that score. Finally, we do see Mr. Strength 4 dodging out, getting the POW onto the Agi 4. Let's see if there's a removal. This could be huge. Just an armor break. You got to be a little disappointed that it wasn't a removal, but you're still happy with that. The ball is at least safe for the moment. Another one-die block. This one does get re-rolled. Oh, he fails the catch with the re-roll. I mean, it was a 5+, so his chances there weren't great, but he did make the He did fail the catch, and so the ball's at his side. He's got at least one tackle zone on it with his 4 strength piece, but there's just so many lizards on the field here. He's going to get a 2-die block on this guy no matter what. And here comes the mighty blow, just a push. But that's enough to at least secure the ball for one of his skinks. And they're close enough now to the end zone. You got to think that they could score if he wants to. I'm probably of a mind that I would not want to score until turn 8 here. There is a knockout, and you're just having your way with these Bretonnians, hitting them 2-die blocks all across the board. You're probably going to remove at least one more if you just secure the ball and score turn 8. You might even try picking up the ball with the Saurus at this point. You've got such an advantage, and it's so great if you can get SPP on the Saurus. He fails the catch, or fails to pick up rather. I'm fine with the reroll here. You've got another one left for the last couple turns. Failed dodge. Those definitely happened on your Agi 3 skinks. They happen all the time on my goblins. That's why I stopped using them. And Bretonnians now, do they even have a hit on the ball here? It looks like with the GFI or 2 he might. Yeah, 1 GFI. He gets the POW. He's getting POWs on these skinks. Ball is loose. He's going to go ahead and leave that blitzer there to mark it. We see the dirty player peasant come around. Here's the dodge. The free reroll does its thing. He does go for the pickup. Rolls a 1. He's got to reroll this. He gets the pickup. It's on his 4. Whoa. It was on his strength 4 blitzer. Oh. I personally right there would probably not play for anything like that. I don't think he was really trying to play for the score. Because I don't even know if he could score there. I guess it would be close with GFIs, but I'd probably leave it on my 4 strength blodger. Because at that point he has to roll a POW in order to get the ball out. But the Lizardmen coach is rolling POWs, so it's not impossible for, or I guess it's a tough call whether or not you throw it there. It's hard for me to imagine that this coach is not tilted, just the way this half is gone. I don't actually know Coach get shiggy with it. I played against Kiwi Bird twice. We played in the regular season last division, and he got a pitch invasion that I will never forget. Just, at the end or near the end of the half, and it was his kick to me, and the pitch invasion removed like I want to say 6 of my orcs, and so he just got a free touchdown, and it made me very mad. And then we played again in the spins, and I destroyed every one of his skinks. Agi 4 skink comes back in the play, picks up the ball here. And the Bretonnians are unable to apply any pressure, failing the 3+ dodge. So we go ahead and see him score on turn 8. An amazingly good half from the Lizard coach here. A very frustrating half from the Bretonnian coach. I can't fault him too much for a lot of the 1-die blocks, especially near the end of the half, because those were just desperation. He showed great restraint with his rerolls. I would say, the biggest critique would be just right off that first turn, not being able to reposition his pieces before going for the blocks, when there's just always that chance of a block not working out, which is exactly what happened. So I would, again, emphasize the turn order, or the order of your actions within your turn is such a pivotal thing to learn as a coach. And it will greatly improve your play once you get a better grasp of that. But it's something that's just kind of tough to teach, more that you just have to really change your mindset about it. Bretonnian coach does have 4 peasants, so of course you're going to see 3 of them on the line here with their fend. The rest of the positioning, though, between his remaining, 5 units, so he's got a total of 8 players against the 11 lizards. The lizards are basically just going to exert their strength, try and possibly remove a couple more, And perfect defense here. I don't know that he's going to change too much here with these Bretonnians. Yeah, spread out the peasants a little bit, but I don't see him putting more blitzers involved. If anything, this is kind of aggressive at how forward in the pitch he is. It's a very short kick. You got to assume that, yeah, Losaurus there does not make the catch. And so now if you're the Lizard coach, you get to decide. Do you rush the score and try and make this a 3-point win to get that extra SPP? I probably would, just because of the amount of removals that you've had. You know, only one of those is a knockout that's possibly going to come back here. You got to be happy with your positioning and chance of scoring again. And who do we pick up with? Is this the diving tackle? No, this is the Agi 4 again. Who's 1 SPP away, so yeah, I would definitely try and get that Agi 4 skink another touchdown, see if you can get a double, get block on him, and that becomes a god skink. Fend getting pushed along and out of the way. We see the blitz onto the wrestle tackle piece, and that is a great piece to prioritize. That guy has the best chance of taking out skinks, so you want to keep him on the ground and marked as much as he can. He doesn't mark him here, which is interesting. He instead chooses to mark the blitzer. I don't like that, especially since it's a strength 4 blitzer. You gave him a 2-die block here. Oh, doesn't actually get the 2-die block. That's right, because it's a dauntless. It's only going to work if it's 4 strength, or if you use a lower strength. But here's the 2-die block. Rerolls the push. I don't like that either. I think he's just trying to get a foul in and try and remove a source. But I would like to save your rerolls for better opportunities, which you did in the first half. So that's maybe, again, just the desperation kind of playing with the coach there, trying to think that if he removes the guard piece, he's going to stand a much better chance, which he's not wrong, but yeah, I value my reroll a bit more there. Not that I wouldn't do the same in your exact position after going through a very, very rough half. And yes, the skink does move up again, so this would indicate to me that he's going to try and quickly score. Play a little bit more defense since it went so well the first time. Get that Mighty Blowsaurus there to round up the cage. He does have a vulnerability still that he needs to close up, and I think that this Saurus does that. The Bretonnian Blitzers have a lot of movement, so it is always worth checking by clicking on the Blitzer and seeing, you know, what their movement is, or counting the squares. A lot of coaches will do that. Just, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plus 2 GFI. So that's one way also of doing it. Lizard Coach goes very heavy on the cage here, and involving the skinks I think is a little bit unnecessary. This wrestle tackle blitzer or blocker would be my personal blitz onto the sidestep skink. Removing skinks is a lot easier than removing Saurus. But he blitzes the Croxagore instead, which does have stand firm, so this is going to be a great foul. Fully expect this to be a foul. He's not even going to try and stop the ball here. And there it is with the dirty player. Ooh, failed foul. That was rough, even with the dirty player. And dodge no good. Mighty Blow Crocs, or Mighty Blow Source making the blitz. I like the use of Mighty Blow here. Kiwi Bird is definitely blitzing with the right piece in this instance. Crocs just stands right back up. He's got guard here. I would like to see him probably mark the rest of these guys. You've got the numbers to do it. And with guard now involved, you can get the other guard piece there. That'll pretty much eliminate the chance of anything but at best a 1-die. Or forcing him to dodge out to make a hit on that skink. That's another mark there. Good little loose cage. Technically, I'm sure he could get his way onto these skinks, but I don't know about that guard source positioning there. Yeah, so he left a 2-die block on the Crocs, and the Crocs is injured for it. Oof. Niggled. A niggled Crocs now. Whew. That Croxagore has some fame, too. He took out a tree last season on Stouticus's team. So, King Croc being down is going to be a little bit rough for the Lizardman coach, especially for that niggle. He's definitely going to be targeted. One of the tough spots with Lizard is you just don't have that bench strength for your key pieces, and so when your Crocs and your Saurus are hurting, there's not much you can do about it. And we get another cheeky foul from Bows to Almonds. However, he is caught by the referee and sent off. More Mighty Blow blitzes. I love it, Kiwi Bird. However, Wrestle takes you down. He could have protected his Crocs, though. If he had just used this guard source, which he's now moving and getting involved up here, if he had positioned that better, he could have really stopped that from happening. So that's a little bit of a misplay, I would even call it. Because this Fen lineman, I mean, you don't need to mark him with the Saurus. That's a huge value differential in favor of your opponent. I don't like the stall. I guess because he lost that Croxagore, he feels maybe a little bit more vulnerable. But with that send-off, I mean, there's 4 people that are just not coming back at all. I really don't like the stall at all. I think you go ahead and take your touchdown here, and then try and get Saurus the ball. Or if you don't want the touchdown, I mean, at least try and hand off to the Saurus. You've got enough pieces here to still cage up and, you know, give one of these skillless Saurus a couple attempts to get the ball. I think it's a 5+ roll. Bretonian making the blitz with the wrestle tackle piece on the skink. I like that. Now we're just seeing 1-die blocks again. Oh man, yeah, you got to re-roll that. Okay. If he doesn't re-roll that, he's at a huge risk. Before you make that blitz, you want to stand up those pieces, the Saurus on the ground there. And that basically forced him to re-roll for sure. And I think you still re-roll there just because you don't want your cage being marked by this guy. Would have probably allowed a blitz on the ball. And even though he's got sidestep, you don't want the ball carrier being marked that close to the end zone. Dauntless does its thing, and again the guard Saurus goes down. Tries to make a dodge with the blocker to get a 2-die on the loner skink. Fails with the reroll. Rough dice. You're always going to have games like this where nothing that you do feels like it goes the right way. I definitely give props to Get Shiggy with it for continuing to try to injure and inflict as much pain upon this Lizard team as possible. And this happens in a regular season game. You're going to have games where you just can't win. I mean, every single game in Blood Bowl has the potential for you to get such poor dice that there's nothing you can do. I think there were opportunities here for a little bit of a closer game, but at this point, you feel like there's nothing you can do, and it's turn 16 or turn 15, so obviously there's nothing you can do. But your next goal, if you will, wow, another injury. That's a lot of injuries for this Lizard coach. But your next goal should be to inflict as much pain upon your opponent that they have a tougher time next match. And that's really, when it gets later in the season and you realize, hey, I have no chance of making the playoffs, that should be your next best goal. Taking out as many of the opposing players as possible. And that's why we have bounties and things like that to have in the divisions to keep it fun too. But We'll see if he gets another foul in here. I think he's thinking about it. Oh, we're going to make a dodge foul with the blitzer. Oof. Only a stun. Man, even the fouls are just not working out for this coach. And there's the turn 16 score for Bull Dates. The Agi 4 skink. Curious to see what he rolls. Take a peek at the team matchup one more time afterward, or the team roster after, to see what that skink rolled for a level up. Kale comes back, but it is way too little, way too late. And we're going to see the victory formation from the Lizards as they protect all their skinks. If you wanted to be generous, you could just put the journeyman skink on the line just to throw a bone to the Bretonian coach, because it's not going to cost him anything. He's definitely not going to buy this skink, I would think. Got no SPP on it. And we see the 3 unleveled Saurus all on the line here. Doesn't matter how you position them, the Bretonian coach is going to be able to get 2 dies on every single one of them. And on top of that, you can count on one of them getting fouled. Oh yes, definitely at least 1 foul. Well, only 1 foul, but definitely expect the foul. Perfect defense, insult to injury. Source coach can rearrange a little bit, but I would... No, you can't do that. I would still expect 2 die blocks on every single one of these. Hey, there's a ball back here. No? You don't care? Yeah, I don't blame you. I don't like that blitz yet. I would definitely have gone for one of the other ones first, but to each their own. I think at this point he's just more interested in getting that foul than he is the 2 die blitz on everybody. And that makes sense, because that's going to be your greatest chance at removing. And who cares if you get 2 SPP on this lineman. So yeah, I'm with him here. Big foul. Let's see what he gets. Oh, man. Oh, okay, just a KO. That's something. I would have been feeling really bad if he just got a stun out of that. Still not what he would have liked. He wanted to see death. But no death this day. Had that been a dirty player? Nope, still wouldn't have been enough. And he does get the 1 die, both down. Knocks himself out. A fool of hot air indeed. So 15 armor breaks in favor of the Lizardmen versus the 6 of the Bretonians. The MVP goes to one of the unleveled Saurus, which that's actually really nice. Every time you get an MVP as a Lizardman on your Saurus, it is a great game. On top of that, you got 2 touchdowns on your Agi 4 skink, so that makes it an even better game. The tackle, wrestle, blocker getting MVP, just 1 SPP away from, I would assume, is going to be Mighty Blow here. Go ahead and make that your tackle palmer. This guy would then become the ultimate skink killing machine. And in this division, I believe there's a couple other dodge teams, so you're definitely going to see some use out of King Congress. Statistics-wise, more blocks for the Bretonians. I'm not surprised, but the problem is most of those were actually 40 to 41, so an equal number of blocks. But the problem was most of those blocks were 1 die blocks compared to the LizardBeasts, who were constantly getting the 2 die blocks, so they had much better results. 4 injuries inflicted with only 1 Mighty Blow piece, or 2 Mighty Blow pieces if you count the Crocs. That is a good game in terms of dice as far as the removals go. And just in general, I would say the LizardBeasts had some great dice. Never really needing I would say not really failing anything huge. I think they had a failed pickup at one point and a couple failed dodges, but really, you can't ask for a better game if you're Kiwi Bird. And yeah, there's the 2 touchdowns there. Looks like Garpek, the Mighty Blow Lizard, the Mighty Blowsaurus, had 2 injuries that he inflicted, which is great. And then one of the other stores also had 2, so very, very good. And I just wanted to peek at the team one more time here to see what they ended up getting. Where is he? Here he is. On his Agi4 skink. You went with Sure Feet. Okay, I was going to say Jump Up. That would be weird. No, Sure Feet. That makes plenty of sense. So that's going to help him out with those GFIs. That's useful on the one-turn attempts, which you can do with the sidestep. Or it's also going to be very helpful with just making sure that he's safe at all times. This is far and away his most valuable piece. Maybe not necessarily, well, yeah, in terms of dollars too, but just the ability to have that Agi4 on your stunty player, making it a 2+ roll into any tackle zone is huge. You know, he might even consider getting wrestle if he does get a double instead of block. I would personally go block just because I want him standing, but I have seen a couple wrestle skinks out there that with Agi4 become just ultimate cage divers, and it's very nice when it works. The downside is he's stunty and he will get fouled to death very quickly. So unless he gets another Agi up, it's probably better to just go block. All right, well, that is going to do it for this episode. Thanks again to Kiwi Bird, and I think it was Getting Shiggy with it. What's his name? Get Shiggy with it. Both coaches for a great game. Good luck to you both throughout the season. We will be checking in with these teams at least one more time, I would assume, as well as on our weekly recaps. So, till next time, thank you everybody for watching. Have a great day.